Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Dan, it's been a funny old week in the life of Exeter City. Listeners might be thinking, why are they recording on a Tuesday? I've just been... I had to get some sun. I had to just sun myself a bit, feel a bit better about it all.
Really? That bad? Went up console, did you?
Went up console tanning salon.
Yeah.
And blitzed my face.
Yeah. Well, it looks very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just the face?
Just the face.
Oh, right, yeah.
I thought, well, you know...
Do they do just the face, or do you just get in one of the things with all your clothes on?
I wore more clothes. I wore my parka and a scarf.
Some salopettes.
I even covered up my ears.
Right.
For the full effect.
Wow. Yeah, I can see they're a bit lighter than the rest of your face.
Listeners, it's been a bad week for Exeter City.
Well, I was going to say never a dull moment, but there's plenty of dull moments on the pitch. There's just off the pitch.
And also, yeah, the chat is not dull, is it?
No, I never have two. I mean, it's a sign of the, it's the bad performances that kind of spark these extra things into life a bit. I'm not sure anyone would care about the other things as much if it wasn't so bad currently on the football side of it.
Yeah.
But the backlash. I mean, you feel like at the moment they could put a video out saying, some of the players have gone along to Bramble Ward to hand out some presents to sick kids.
Yeah.
And people would be furious.
Yeah,
Why aren't they in training?
Yes.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Some of the squad have been practicing using their weaker foot. Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
Practice with their stronger foot.
Concentrate on the stronger foot.
You don't win football with weaker foot.
Yeah.
Foot. Yeah. It's funny old time. It's a bit like when it's really obvious that someone's partner isn't interested in them anymore, and so then they really get into something else weird.
Yeah.
I've really got into
Peloton.
Base jumping. Peloton.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I now I've learned how to decorate cakes.
Yeah, just to distract them from their
The mundanity.
sexless marriage.
Yeah, that's right. Or just exciteless.
Yeah, boring.
But
Yeah.
that's what City are going for. The football's absolutely dreadful, so let's do some mad other stuff just to keep the content going and keep our lives interesting.
Yeah, and don't think about the performances.
No.
It's not work, though, because it's better than anything highlighted the bad performances.
So, away to Charlton Athletic at the Valley on Saturday. Took 1,100 supporters. Fair play to you all, because your reward was an absolute drubbing and not a hint of City attack.
No. In the highlights, I watched the match.
Yeah.
But in the highlights, the only Exeter City highlight is Ryan Trevitt having a shot from about 30 yards out, which goes about 30 yards wide. That's it. I know for those London games, you get. It's not that loads of people go up from here. I mean, a lot of people do, but there's a lot of people who live there, isn't there, that go.
There's the old exiles, isn't there?
That bumps the numbers a bit.
But so what? Like 1,100 people turning out to be the away supporters in, and just be.
Well, the thing is,
it's not that we expected to win. Charlton are a good team. It's not that we expected to even really give them a run for their money. But you expect them to have to work a bit.
Yeah. Well, I think the worrying part of it is that, and I suppose we'll talk about this more, but it wasn't from lack of effort.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like we look at them going like they're not even trying.
No, because you look at the players,
and you do see other teams sort of say, when they're. I think maybe it was Burton a little while back. The supporters are really kind of like, no one's even bothering. The performance is suggested. I mean, who knows? But it's suggested that no one was even trying. We look like we're putting in the effort. Yeah,
we don't say that about our players, do we? That's not a thing I've heard at all.
No, I don't think that's. I mean, there's been a lot of criticism levelled at them from all corners, but you don't really see that, and because it didn't look like that. They are trying really hard.
Yeah.
But that's worse.
Well, that shows that the problem isn't endeavour by the players.
Well, yeah.
And as we've said loads, this is a squad built by the management team. So it's not about square pegs in round holes anymore. So
it is, annoyingly, it is about square pegs and round holes, although it shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be then. So we've got Endeavour.
Well, there's no excuse for it, really.
We've got the finances for recruitment that was asked for, and yet we're getting matches where we're so far out of it that, honestly, it wouldn't have been any worse if we put in all the lads who are currently on loan in the National South teams.
No, I don't think it would have been.
In terms of how close we got to getting any kind of result.
No. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah. It was bad. It was bad. And the thing is, I know we sort of said, I mean, you didn't take a genius to work this out because it was the same last season, but what's come to pass again is we haven't been able to harness anything from that performance against Nottingham Forest.
No.
The same last season when we had the win against Luton and then the narrow defeat against Middlesbrough, and we thought this might, you know, we can do it. This shows them that they can do it, that we can be better than we have been in the league, and that the performances can be, you know, extracted from this group of players.
Yeah.
Didn't happen last season. And I was worried it was going to happen again this season, and it has. It's just like we've had 2 games since then. We had Cambridge. I mean, fair enough, 1-0. We won 1-0, but, I mean, the performance was completely lacking in any kind of, like, real kind of energy, or it didn't look like any momentum had been taken from the Forest game. And this week, even less. You know, that's terrible. As bad as we've been all season, probably.
Yeah, and as we know, the Cambridge game, against any better team.
Yeah, we got lucky there because they changed the management straight after.
Yes, and
then they beat Stockport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, after the game, I want to give a mention to Tom Piccolo, who, I think this is right, isn't it? He used to run the Park Life thing for City.
Yeah. Is that right?
I think that's right. I might happy to be corrected. And then
he's the student lad. Student Grecians, whatever they're called, something like that. Yeah,
but didn't he do the university podcast, then Park Life?
Oh, maybe.
I might be wrong. Anyway, whatever his background is, he's now working for Radio Devon, and he interviewed the manager after the game and didn't let him off lightly, which is what we've been calling out for, really.
Well, yeah, it wasn't only him that did it. A few weeks ago, we also had the lad Jed Pemberthy. He gave Colwell, asking Colwell the questions that you'd expect from independent journalism. We don't expect the club to do it. You know, no, of course not. You know, that's in house. They're not going to suddenly start grilling him.
No,
but it's good.
Well, our issue's been, hasn't it, historically, since the kind of demise of print media. When has this ever happened? So fair play to the Radio Devon people for picking up the slack there.
Yeah.
And he asked the questions, didn't he?
Well, and he don't like it.
No.
Don't like it up him, Coldwell, does he?
As they say. No. Well,
the thing is, I don't like, and also what you don't get from the club, like I said, understandably from the club interviews, and after this match, Coldwell's interview is like, as much as you get the odd sentence going like, "We have to be better," you know, like.
Good.
Is that good?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Huff. We have to be better. I notice he says huff instead of have. But then when he extrapolates on that, it's nothing to do with. He's never saying, "Yeah, maybe my system's is the problem." It's always that the players aren't implementing the system properly, and I don't think that's how it works.
I mean, it could.
I mean, yeah, sure. But if you keep doing it over and over and over again, and you try different variations of the squad, and every week there's a different midfield variation or a different thing, and nothing ever seems to work, and you kind of think, like, well, maybe it's time you tried something else, Gary, because you've been doing this for years now, and it doesn't fucking work, does it?
Yeah, and like, he obviously thinks that the number 10 role is absolutely key.
Well, clearly, because we've got about 15.
Well, that's what I mean. So he obviously also doesn't think he's got 1 or 2 number 10s that can do what he's asking of them, because it's this absolute pick and mix of throw in the kitchen sink at that position. We've brought them in from all over the place. We've paid money for them. We've got experience. We've got inexperience. We've got youth. We've got You know,
we got loads of loans.
Got loads of
different
loans.
ones. Meanwhile, the one that we got rid of, Kamari Doyle, his numbers for Crawley have been absolutely amazing. Like something like 3 goals, 2 assists, or the other way around, or something. Anyway, like
Yeah. So you're right. So the interview Tom pointed out in the interview that aside from Cambridge last week, which anyone with eyes would acknowledge we got away with one there. Fair play to McGuinness for scoring, but we definitely could have conceded at least one.
Yeah.
And then Nottingham Forest, which, as we know, was what it was.
Well, it's not in the league. It doesn't help us in the league.
It doesn't help us in the league, and it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
And then Oxford in the Cup. Now, let's be honest, Oxford are struggling in the Championship, and that wasn't their first choice team.
Well, it was also, it was in the Cup.
So aside from those 3 results, 2 of which are in the Cup.
You're not taking anything away from his Cup achievements. That's great.
But he's not there to keep us in the Cup.
It's not only about the Cup,
No,
is it? You know, there's also, it's not like, well, if you get relegated with 0 points,
Yeah.
but go, well, I've got us to the quarter-final of the League Cup. It's like, well...
Yeah, because we're never winning that Cup,
No
are
one
we?
cares. Yeah, if you won it.
Yeah.
I would take that relegation with 0 points.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. Maybe not, because that would be so humiliating. Relegated.
Yeah.
But we win the League Cup or
Yeah.
the FA Cup. Oh yeah, I would absolutely all day long. But that
it's
ain't
not
going to happen, is it?
It's not going to happen.
So it does basically. I mean, aside from earning you a few $100,000,
Yeah.
that doesn't really
No.
matter, and we can do that in more efficient ways anyway.
Indeed. So that's... Gary's obviously not up for saying, yeah, this is way, way off where it should be. Since November, it's been an absolute car crash. Now, I realise if you say that out loud, that's a hard position to then justify.
Yeah, and I get that he's not going to say exactly what he means or he feels in every interview.
Yeah.
He isn't. He said in that thing he doesn't look at the league table.
Yeah.
That's obviously bollocks.
Yeah.
Of course he looks at the league table.
Of course you do.
If you weren't doing that, you're not doing the kind of like... I get the point he's trying to make. You're concentrating on the next match and you're concentrating on trying to win individual games.
Yeah.
But let's not, let's not get too hung up on that bit, because he clearly does look at it.
Anyway, I thought that interview was enlightening because just put a bit of pressure where maybe there isn't pressure coming from. And with like... If Sir Jim Ratcliffe, weird man that he seems to be... is your boss, you know that he's being a difficult boss and asking difficult questions, like whether they're right questions or not. And as we've said before, as we said last year, as we're starting to feel again, is there pressure coming internally? Because it's clear they're not going to sack Gary without very, very, very specific things happening.
Yeah.
So are they then at least saying...
Well, last year especially, we know there was enough general...
Yeah.
calling for change that the club had to do a little kind of like
We're not going to sack him.
long form interview hawker.
Yeah.
Like doing his Netflix special, like to say that.
Yeah.
So they're aware of that kind of thing. But
So they're not going to sack him for a while, right? So are they then saying to him, Gary, you asked for extra money in November. We gave you extra money in November. We've given you this transfer market. This is whichever number window it is, but you've had plenty. Why aren't you buying a striker? Why do you keep buying number 10s? Why did you let Kamari Doyle go? Are they asking those difficult questions? And it's hard to see that they would be. Maybe they are. And maybe I'm doing them a massive disservice. But I'm just pleased to see that interview, because I don't see where else the pressure's coming from, apart from us being able to tap furiously on Xweb.
Well, yeah. I mean,
And-
it's clearly there, isn't it, online? And if you go to the ground, it's vocal enough. You can hear.
Well, it's vocal enough at the end of the game when the result goes badly, but I think rightly so, the supporters are unsure about the validity of giving the players a hard time during the game.
Yeah, of course.
So then, if you're a manager of a bigger club or a different kind of club, there's pressure coming in other ways because you are having to answer these media questions, or you have got a different kind of owner. Because we're unique as this supporter-owned club, where are the points of challenge, really? That's what I'm asking. And I'm pleased to see that.
It's a lot more vague, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. There we are. But it was rubbish. I think we can all agree that was a rubbish game of football.
It was. Charlton aren't the world, and they're on a very good run of form. Let's not
sure.
take that away from them. But what they did was just played very directly against us. You can see that in the last 2 goals. The first one, bad defending from a set piece, and the second 2 goals, one was just the keeper hoofed it down the field, and then for some reason, the backline defence makes an attempt at a clearance, but then their players are up the pitch so much quicker than ours that they've got players in between they've got several attackers in between our defence and midfield, so the ball comes out to them. This ends up one guy just kind of dribbling and shooting, but he had options. It was so dangerous, just from a booted ball up the field, and then the third one is just a ball down the line, which beats about 3 of our players with the first pass, and then the fella dribbles it past 3 defenders. No one puts a foot in, and slots it home. They must be thinking that was a piece of piss, wasn't it?
Yeah. Don't think they'll have an easy game all
season. And just so direct. Like, that's just. I mean, we never do that. We don't play that way. But they were able to make real use of that against us.
Okay.
I just say, you worry watching it. What not only is like, are we struggling to create anything, or get service to the attackers or anything? You wonder what even is the plan in terms of scoring a goal. Like, there's nothing to even suggest what you would be trying.
No.
Like, where is this goal? Where are they supposed to be coming from? I could understand it if you could see what they were doing, but they weren't good enough. Like when Niskanen gets into a position and then he can't cross it or shoot. I understand that more. That's more like, okay, this guy we've chosen for his defensive duties, he's also got to do some attacking. He's not up to the job. Okay, I can see that, but on Saturday you think, well, I don't even know. And on the pitch you've got Trevitt, Mitchell, Colwill, McGuinness, Mitchell. I've said point Yagane, the new guy Olorobori. Like, what's the idea?
Yeah,
I don't think anyone can even see what the idea is. But
well, the concern is we're sinking like an absolute stone. The clubs around us have made changes. They're all picking up points.
Yeah.
We have a habit. Now, Gary would be like, not every game, fine, but we've got a really bad habit of conceding a significant number of goals at the moment.
Yeah.
So I know Cambridge, we kept a clean sheet, but 3 on Saturday, 4 against Stevenage at the beginning of the month, 6 against Orient, 3 against Blackpool before that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of capitulation in a lot of examples.
Now, something was going wrong with Gary's plan because Niskanen gets hauled off. More on him later.
Yeah, I wonder whether because obviously Woods came on for him. So initially I was thinking, are we switching up the tactics? Because that is a tactical change. And Woods didn't play in right wing back.
No.
But I'm not sure because the first goal is so Niskanen's fault. And then Gary also says players need to do what they're told to do, kind of like at the end of the interview, in the post-match. I wondered whether it was like he was so annoyed at that he hold him off for that.
I mean, I get that, and we'll talk about this more in a minute as well. He's running out of tools to turn this team into winners. Like,
he's only using the one.
Well, aside from tactics,
right? Okay, yeah.
Which he's obviously not up for changing at all ever. He's now. We've had the old. I'll bring him off before half time, which is kind of the ultimate insult, isn't it? Aside from someone getting a red card.
I mean, I don't mind that if it's tactical because it means you're changing something to affect that you've got the shape wrong or something, and you need to change the personnel in order to fix that.
Course.
Yeah, but
yeah,
do you know what I mean? If it's not that, then it looks.
I feel like
desperate.
He's kind of grasping because also now. Well, go on.
I was just going to say, I think there's an interesting article by Jonathan Wilson, someone posted on XWeb about Pep Guardiola and how we all know football kind of tactics go in cycles. One thing will be the main thing, and that will dominate the kind of like, and everyone will copy it.
Well, the winning team does it, so everyone copies it.
And then someone else comes up with an antidote to that, and then so the cycle, and then that fades away, and so the cycle continues. Now, I think Gary's been dazzled by probably Roberto Martinez when he played for him under Wigan, because he did a very similar kind of approach.
Yeah.
And how well did that work out for him? He stuck dogmatically to it. It failed, and Wigan were relegated.
Yeah.
Amongst other failures in his management career, And And then I think he's dazzled by that, and he's dazzled by Pep and these kind of ideas. And then you start something off and you build on it, and then as the kind of the cycle turns, you think, oh, this isn't happening anymore. Everyone's worked out how to do this.
Yeah.
But then I think also maybe the board or the people who aren't willing to sack him, they're dazzled by him because they see, wow, he's doing these kind of like this continental sort of style of football that we're all kind of like a bit like, ooh, you know about, because we're used to, British is more football historically more direct, more kind of like, crude, if you want, like kind of a bit more kind of 4-4-2, hit the big man kind of thing. So I think some people are kind of like dazzled by that, and to the point where you kind of keep defending it even when it isn't working, because you'll think like, well, this is like, but it's fancy.
Yeah. Well, this is probably why lots of clubs have gone down the old director of football route, because now that football clubs are corporations, like it's not just a local sports team, right?
Yeah.
So back in the day, person would play for a football club. When they got too old to play for a football club, they'd become the coach or the manager, or they'd go into like the overarching like boardroom of it, and it worked fairly well because those people understood what football was and they didn't need to understand too much what business was. Now obviously it's changed enormously, so now we've got this great big gap between who runs the clubs and the football on the pitch. And I'm sure all corporations have this. The person that runs Morrison's was never a greengrocer, so you have someone in the middle, don't you? Now, Exeter City don't currently have someone in the middle, this director of football thing. So that would be the obvious thing to do. Someone who's not dazzled by a footballer saying like, well, I won the FA Cup,
Yeah. Well, there was rumours that Wayne Carlisle was touted for that role and then Gary didn't want it.
Yeah, that's the rumour.
I understand why the manager usually doesn't want someone like that. Because it's it's someone else.
They see through some of your stuff.
Exactly, and you have to be accountable, and it's something they see it as interfering, and in some cases they probably do interfere.
Yeah.
But so I get that, but we don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, I would actually think that that's something that a lot of clubs, most clubs are going in that direction.
Yes.
Cambridge just took on their previous two managers.
That's right.
One as the coach and one as the director of football.
That's right.
So, presumably when Gary does go, whenever that is, there's this idea that Dan Green will be the next kind of Matt Taylor kind of promoted from below kind of idea. And then if it was that with some director of football, Wayne Carlisle or whoever again.
Taylor even,
I would think that looks Portis Del my lord. Yeah. I would think that looks, oh God, I'd love that.
No, you would.
Look how well Celtic are doing this season. Is that any coincidence?
Well, they weren't doing very well and then he came in and then they were, so.
Anyway, on the subject of Tisdale, my sympathy with people who don't want Gary to be sacked does tie back to the time when I didn't at no point wanted Paul Tisdale to be sacked because I just liked him.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people didn't like him, and the football sometimes was absolutely as bad as the stuff we're seeing now.
Yeah.
But I was really invested, and I do understand some people that are still into Gary.
But let's be frank, Dan. Tisdale.
Are you still into Gary?
No.
No.
But I never was as much.
No.
Because I'm into Matt Taylor, I'm into Terry Cooper.
Well, let's be honest.
And I'm into Tisdale. And Tisdale, you can argue about it however much you want, about who was the more successful. He got 2 consecutive promotions.
Well, I would say that Tisdale kind of was more invested in the club.
Yeah.
And in the whole idea than Gary is.
Of course. So he did that. That's why then it was hard to change our views on him. And it took me a long time. And those awful Facebook memories that you mainly think like, why on earth did I ever write that on?
Yeah. I delete them immediately.
Yeah, so do I. And there's loads of me saying like, well, obviously what you're on about getting rid of Tisdale. Like it took me a really long time.
Yeah.
Because what he'd done previously. Now, Gary hasn't done anything that significant. Okay, he's kept us in the same league now twice, maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that is his brief.
That is his brief.
But it's a bit but
it's not the same. It's just not the
and
same.
also, the
is it?
third one hasn't happened yet,
No.
and it very well could not happen. Like we are, like there's people going, oh, we might get if we just take these next 2 games against whoever, then that might be. We're in the relegation.
Yeah,
we're 3 points ahead. If we hadn't got a point at Crawley, we'd already be in the relegation zone. You know, and various other anecdotal points like that. You know, we are very much involved.
Yeah, indeed.
We've got 2 games this week, so
yeah. Well, so shall we pause there and then talk about what's coming up next?
yeah.
All right. Welcome back to the Big Bang Theory podcast. Remember, you can always email us. We're delighted to hear from you. bigbangpod@gmail.com. We've had more how we relate to Exeter City player correspondence.
Yeah.
This is from Shimmy. When I was studying in college, my friend got a job at Bertie Kozic's creperie.
Gormandine, I believe it was called.
Gormandine, down by the Cathedral Green. Yeah, if you're unfamiliar with this, Kozic was a French defensive midfielder.
Yep.
Absolute chopper.
Yep. Not very good.
But French, who played for City for 3 or 4 years, and he bought what's now Hub Box behind what was Dingles. What's that even called? All my points of reference have gone.
Colson's?
Behind the High Street.
It's by that little old knackered church ruins.
The old, whatever that bit's called, the bit that was bombed by Wagamamas. Anyway, Hub Box. Bertie Kozic owned this crap.
You
place.
might remember it more as the Milkmaid.
Oh yeah, of course,
the
Milkmaid.
Older Exeter residents might. Yeah, where the Milkmaid is, basically.
Anyway, apparently Bertie had a ferocious temper and would lose his rag over the slightest thing. My mate lasted a handful of shifts before he got sacked and never got paid for his Christmas overtime. I asked my friend for further details. I was forced, this is a direct quote, I was forced to work in the kitchen rather than waiter because he thought I looked too tired and unwell.
I mean...
Amazing.
You don't want to stereotype the French, do you? But
let's not. But that's classic.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Good one, Jimmy. Thank you for that. And thanks to your friend for giving us that direct quote. Too tired and unwell to serve a crep.
So let's have some more. Any more links to Exeter City players? That's the kind of thing that we want.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. Any link at all, but, you know, that would be good. And also, if you... Has anyone got any more experiences of Gormandine?
Oh, yeah.
Bertie Kozic's crepe place.
I never went. Why did I never go there?
I went there, had
Did
one,
you?
but I can't remember anything about it. This is a very average crepe, as far as I remember.
I-
Why bother when the crepe man, who stands in the high street, just off the high street there by McGay's, why bother? That guy's been going for ages. You know that's going to be good.
Yeah.
He's devoted his life to crepes.
Yeah.
Bertie Kozic...
Part-time crep.
Well, very much kind of football was really he was concentrating on the football, was it? Whereas Crep Man, he never had the distraction of football. He was just always 100% focused on crep.
He was. Yeah. Fair play to him. Okay, you know how to get in touch if you want to. So, 2 big bits of news.
Yes, club news.
Club news item number 1. Ilmari Niskanen, beloved Finn.
Yeah.
Not the best footballer, not the best attacking footballer. Work rate, phenomenal.
You're not smiling now, are you?
Very jolly fella. If I had to say who would be bottom of the list for this to happen to, he'd be there for me.
The only person I'd put lower would be Jake Richards, because I'm assuming he's not old enough to drive.
Yeah. Ilmari, the rumours were out before the club made the statement, was caught over the limit, drink driving, arrested, charged, and has now gone to court and been sentenced.
Yes.
Drink driving. 1.5 driving ban and a substantial fine.
Couple of grand.
Grand.
Substantial-ish for him. Oh, I've just typed in Ilmari into Google.
Yeah.
And the first thing to come up is a Japanese musician.
Ooh.
Called Ilmari, who's also actually born in Finland as well. So
Must be a Finnish
but
name.
he's Yeah.
So then Niskanen issued a statement saying he was really...
He's a member of the Teriyaki Boys. I don't know if anyone's familiar with them, but I'm not.
I saw a band in the cavern once called the Garlic Boys from Tokyo.
Oh, very good.
Anyway, Ilmari made a statement that was very apologetic, knew he'd let everyone down. The club made a statement before the sentencing, didn't they, when the rumours came out, confirming it. We've had no statement from them since.
If you go on ITV's .com's article about the sentencing, there's a picture of Ilmari, leaving the court in a suit, suit and tie kind of thing, looking, and he's not smiling. He's not smiling.
No. That's not the time to smile, Dan.
No. So he got fined £2,885.
Okay.
It was near Honiton, presumably where he lives in Honiton. So it's near there on the A30. So it's on a dual carriageway. Is that a dual carriageway?
Yeah, yeah. What an idiot. what a stupid thing to do. Thing number one.
Yeah. It is. Well, obviously, yeah.
And there's loads
I feel like there's even less... if he's not skin.
No.
So you can get a cab.
There's no reason for that to happen.
Like other people might go like, I'm not excusing it, but you at least might go, taxi's going to cost me 30 quid. But 30 quid's like, it's nothing to him, is it?
I had a friend who once slept in his car with the keys in the ignition.
You're not allowed to do that.
He got caught and got in trouble for it.
Yeah.
But this is different to that. You're endangering yourself, everyone else. Sort it out, mate. What are you thinking?
What are you thinking? What are you thinking buying a Nissan Juke in the first place?
Is that what he's got?
Yeah.
It's just
Have you
moronic.
got a Nissan Juke? Email in. What's the performance like? What's the miles to a gallon?
Is it one of these self-driving cars? 'Cause that'd be different, I suppose. But I don't suppose it is.
Grey area, that, I think.
Yeah, what a goon. And, better than that. And what's going on with that? So then the clubs had to do
So he
statement.
had 70 micrograms of alcohol per 100 millilitres of breath.
Yeah.
Which is twice the limit.
Yeah, so this isn't just like slightly over.
For context, and again, I think I saw this was from someone did that research on XWeb, and I've seen it.
Yeah.
That I think that Plymouth goalkeeper, who killed that family,
over the limit.
He had something like 74.
Right, so that's the same.
It's basically the same.
Yeah.
I think it.
That's why the rules are. That's literally why the laws are there. That Plymouth fella didn't mean to kill anyone. I don't know. Obviously, everyone knows this stuff.
Yeah,
but
there's been a lot of kind of like. There's a lot of kind of opinions about all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, but ultimately, the thing that he did is the same as the thing that McCormick did.
Yeah.
As in, he'd had the same amount of alcohol to drink, and he decided to drive the car.
Yeah.
On a
road.
On a fast road.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah.
One got lucky, one didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
absolutely right.
That's as far as it. You can't think worse of one because he got unlucky, and better of another one because he didn't. They were in the same position.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think it's mad. I can't believe it's happened.
I can't believe it's happened. I can't and then the club's now been put in this position of what do you do about this? Now you'll all recall that 3 years ago, Giovanni Brown attacked a woman while also drunk. In Exeter.
Well, he never played for the club again.
He never played for the club again.
To be honest, I'm not excusing anything that Giovanni Brown did, because there was somebody was harmed in that exchange.
Yep.
There's more nuance for that's a disagreement, isn't it? We don't, he said that there's more that was an argument, and then the resulting thing was he committed a really bad crime, hitting them.
Yeah.
But there was something that started that. Process off, not just a decision. He didn't just decide I'm going to twat this woman. No.
So there are factors.
There's factors
that there aren't with.
But with Niskanen, he did just decide to drive the car.
Yeah.
So it was worse. Isn't it?
We don't know who he was with. We don't know. There was rumours, but none of it's substantiated about whether he was with other players.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
No, that's just rumours. There's no.
The biggest crime he's committed is doing up both buttons on his jacket when he's gone to court.
I'd wager that's not the biggest crime.
Well,
here.
it's up there. Nearly as bad.
So yeah, that's all going on now, and he has been playing since he was charged.
He started every game since this has happened.
So I mean, we know that Colwell's obsessed with him, and
Yeah.
we've always stood up for him and said how hard he works. But the difficult thing is, the club took a stance on Giovanni Brown, which I have to say I thought was probably the right stance. 3 years later, looking back on it, I said it was probably right then, and I stand by that.
Yep.
We're a community club, I'm doing air quotes, but we are, like, that's our whole premise. It's just a really bad look. It's a really bad look.
The thing is, we all know, and I don't mind this. I'm not getting all kind of puritanical about this. I'm not drink driving. That they do go out boozing a lot.
Yeah.
Because the manager does.
Yeah.
Caldwell and Perks are always out boozing. I'm not having a go at them for that. I think that's totally fair enough, and I think I like it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no reason why they shouldn't.
Yeah.
But when something like this happens, then you have to go like, well,
Yeah, I mean, you just come up against, like...
If you are going to do that, which I think you should be able to do, and I like it that you can go into... that it's a thing that you can go into town as a manager or a player, have a few drinks with people and chat to them about football, and you're connected to it. It's one good way to connect it. But if you are going to do that, rather than being like, right, no one goes out in town, which I'm sure is maybe what some clubs would do, then you have to make sure that these things are... I mean, it can't have not been made categorically clear to Niskanen that he's not allowed to drink drive, but you have to be able to drive, pardon the pun, but drive it home.
Yeah. Well,
don't drive it home. The good thing about this is, the one positive that come out of this is that Niskanen now will think twice about smiling every 5 minutes, won't he?
He will.
Because people are going to hate that. One more smirk out of you and people are going to go berserk.
You could say that this is another argument for the director of football. If Gary wants to be who he is, and like you said, fair enough, that's who he is, where's the... Because now the trust, who are generally, and the board, generally community people, are going to have the community view, and Gary's going to have the kind of footballer who goes out view.
Yeah.
Where's that middle ground again? Where's that person holding that space and saying, like, look, we're not saying footballers can't go out, but look, that's what it feels like here. I
suppose it's slipped into... By allowing that kind of thing to happen, we're going out, we're drinking in town, blah, 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 it's slipped... I suppose you've got to keep it up. You've got to keep reminding, okay, we're going to do this, but keep reminding them, don't drink drive, don't punch any women, don't do this, don't punch a man in white jeans into a bin because you're on CCTV.
Don't send a woman slide into Kingdom Come down the Guildhall slope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which we did all enjoy, in a way.
Well, it's that, again, that was the best thing that
I'm sorry
that
woman accidentally got hurt,
but
she's still sliding now,
so,
that's what I'm saying.
Anyway...
Slide on, little friend.
Slide away.
Yeah. Right. What I'm saying is, I think, in all of this, I don't know what the right thing to do is. Like, he's clearly apologetic for what happened. He clearly feels a lot of shame for what happened.
Yeah, but you would.
Of course.
Who wouldn't? So did McCormick.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? What I'm saying is I don't know what the right thing to do was, but I think because they set the precedent previously...
Yeah, same. I don't know either, yeah.
But it seems
I'm not saying, sack him now, because I don't know whether that's what the right thing to do is here, but...
There it is. Next item on club news.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Now, obviously, this was pre-booked, you'd assume, before this debacle happened.
Yeah.
I don't blame... the management team for doing this, or for having to then deal with like, oh yeah, and we're losing, oh yeah, and Niskanen's in court.
Yeah.
But the club, the squad, are away in Spain on warm weather training.
Yeah, this is a bit of a non-issue as far as I'm concerned.
Also, as I'm concerned, but worth talking about.
Yeah, I think it's just optics-wise, when you're losing every 5 minutes, and and they've got all this kind of like, and you've got all this evidence that they're off boozing all the time. Via the Niskanen story, to then, abject performance against Charlton, straight to the airport to fly off to Spain. You got to understand optics-wise that looks a bit... That people are going to... I think wrongly, but people are going to be furious about that.
Yeah.
Because they want to go to Spain and they can't afford to. Do you mean? So that's another element of it or whatever, Well,
there's that. There's also the, like... you're playing very poorly.
Yeah.
Why are you being rewarded? No, I don't see that this is reward.
No, there's, no,
Like,
there's other...
we've got new players in the squad who need to bond with the existing squad. Training in the wind and horrible weather in England must get pretty old.
Yeah.
I don't blame him trying to break the cycle of like, we're losing and we need to do something.
Absolutely,
if it works, fair play.
Yeah.
It was worth the 20 grand or whatever.
I think if we come back and lose to Northampton on Saturday, it's going to look bad, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's the gamble.
Yeah.
If we go and if we lose to Northampton and concede more than one, or lose by more than one,
Yeah.
that's his gamble there, isn't it? That's the choice he's made. That's the punt.
Yeah.
And then Ilmari's, I think, caught them up. I think that's the suggestion.
Yeah, because they went before he had his court thing, so he
Yeah.
wasn't able to go. But
I
so
mean-
now he's gone out there, is he?
Well, I believe that's the word. No, I don't think anyone actually knows, because at the moment all social media is it's just mentioned the trip,
Right.
nothing else. I feel for the media lads, because obviously in a normal life, if we're winning, you say, here's some good shots of them all in Spain, and
Yeah.
fair play and all that stuff. And now you've got to kind of sell this thing like, oh yeah, whoops.
Well, I'm guessing they haven't taken the media
I guess not.
people with them. But
guess
normally
not.
clubs do.
I mean, they deserve to go after the shine they've had to put on this rubbish.
yeah.
They're the ones that are working. They're the real champs here.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It's all going to be all right. Buy a ticket, please. So anyway, there we are. That's club news.
Alistair Campbell levels of spin. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Mandelson. Which one's out of...
Well, Mandelson was always an elective minister, wasn't he?
Oh, right. But I'm talking out of Scott and Gavin. Who's the Mandelson? Who's the
I don't think it's fair to lump those two fine fellas in with Alistair Campbell and Peter Mandelson. They're good lads doing a good job for a club that we love. Them two Burks were the death of the socialist movement in England.
They continue to stymie that movement as well, if you ask me.
Yeah, indeed.
But I was just trying to draw a parallel. I wasn't saying that they were
fair.
I wasn't saying they were as bad.
Should hope not. Anyway, it's been busy. So it's Northampton Saturday, and then it's Reading on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Now Northampton are.
It's a big week.
But
they're all big weeks.
It's all big weeks from here on in, isn't it?
This is a big week on the pitch. Last week was a big week off it. But so Northampton always beat us. They're sort of just around where we are. We were above them. Now we're below them.
They've won 3 of the last 5.
Good.
They are.
That's be 4 of the last 6. We don't.
They're just in more.
I feel like they're a bit of a bogey team for us, aren't they? I know. I can think of times when we've got a result against them. That year we went up, but
Yeah. No.
usually
Agreed.
I feel like that's always a difficult one.
They've got Barnsley tonight, so they'll be tireder than, in theory, us, having had our holiday in
That's
the
how
sun.
hungover we all are.
Indeed. They beat Bristol Rovers 2-1 at the weekend. They lost 2-0 to Wrexham the weekend before that, but they beat Mansfield the week before that. Mansfield are in terrible form, and they beat Huddersfield 3-2 at the beginning of February. They've also drawn with Wycombe.
They have won games recently.
Yeah, and against reasonable teams. They drew 0-0 with Stevenage. They drew 0-0 with Wycombe. It's been a while. Back last year, they got beaten 5-0 by Charlton and 4-1 by Reading. So that's why they're down with us, but they are winning some games.
Okay.
Then we've got Reading on Tuesday, away at Reading. Now, their club, they're in a bigger mess than we are. Well, obviously, they're having the old ownership problem still. It looks like it's starting to be resolved, but it hasn't ruined
long
them on
running
the pitch.
that, innit?
Long
But
running.
they're still doing better than us, and we've got this.
Well, they're 9th in the league, down on 50 points. So they're going to be formidable. They haven't lost in 5, maybe more. They're drawing when they should be winning, perhaps. So it's not going to be by any stretch an easy game.
Yeah.
They drew with Birmingham at the weekend 0-0. They beat Rotherham.
So our head-to-head record we've played them 19 times. We've won 4. They've won 12, and 3 of them have been draws.
Yeah, they've dropped off a bit. I think they were doing better, but coming into this year, I think the squad's kind of run out of steam a bit. But we we're unlikely to get anything there. So it makes Northampton all the more significant in the shape of what they're coming after, terrible performances, holiday in the sun, warm weather training, sorry. We've got to put up a very good performance against Northampton.
Yeah.
We've got to.
Well, we don't have to. Do you mean if we want to stay up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not going to get many other places to get points from. I know we've got to play some of the teams below us, but they're picking up points in other places.
Well, yeah, they're very quickly going to be not teams below us if we carry on not winning.
Yeah. Now, because we haven't got a game tonight and other teams do, we'll have 2 games in hand over some of them, but we could find ourselves... I believe it's true to say we could find ourselves in the relegation zone by Saturday.
Okay.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
But certainly not far off.
No.
We'll line up the same, and if McGuinness manages to work some FA Cup magic into the game, we'll get something maybe. It's not going to be any different, is it? We're not going to see a completely different performance. Because you remember that Reading one at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
That first half was brilliant. We're not going to see that again.
Well, I suppose you never know, but it seems very unlikely, yeah.
Very unlikely.
It seems very unlikely. But
Ed Turns is back, I think.
Is that
three?
I think he's still got 1 game.
A flipping heck.
I think John Leofeco's signed on for next season.
That's the rumour, isn't it?
That's the rumour, isn't it? That's not confirmed yet.
That's a really good...
He's excellent.
Addition, yeah. We've lost Kramer.
He is always injured, though.
Well, he has been so far, yeah.
Well, he was always injured for Rangers as well.
Yeah.
Probably why they let us have him.
Yeah.
But we've had good record. That doesn't mean anything.
No, we've often turned players around.
Exactly. And I think if that is true and that confirmed, I do think that's good news.
Now, Turns is a permanent signing, isn't he? But yeah. McDonald is a loan, correct?
No, I think McDonald's not alone. He's also permanent, but it might only be to the end of the season. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good news.
Yeah, so no, I think it's another game without
Turns. Okay.
Turns.
Hartridge is doing okay. He's what we knew he'd be. I mean, he's not great. I mean, no one was great. No one came out Saturday great.
No.
My optimism is waning, Dan.
Is it?
Yeah.
And listener, that is saying something.
Yeah.
Because you're a very optimistic man.
I just can't see it turning round.
You've been ground down. We've all been ground down to an extent. I think you're even starting to see some of the kind of what some would refer to on the internet as happy clappers.
Yeah.
Or even them.
Yeah.
Some of the historical ones, even them are starting to kind of get a bit sick of it. And who can blame them? Because it is quite demoralising. Just in terms of like, this isn't so... I mean, we're doing this for some reason, but it's supposed to just be where we've got to kind of talk about stuff.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to just be a bit of a laugh, isn't it? And like something to kind of escape from your shit job that you've got to do or something. And it's sort of like, it's worse than... I'd rather... I mean, I've got a good job, but a job I like.
Yeah.
I'd rather go and like... sometimes you think, why have I come to this? It's all like, I'd rather have gone to work at the Helmet or wherever people work these days. Is that still open?
What's that?
Helmet, you know that place that used to make helicopter parts?
Oh. No, I don't know it.
You don't remember that?
No.
In my school, everyone's dad worked there.
All my friends worked at Lloyd Maunders.
The butcher?
The abattoir, yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. What's...
Can we make that the episode size? All my friends worked at Lloyd Maunders.
Yeah, sure. It's done.
Thank you.
What happens for Gary Colwell to stop being our manager? Can you see a time between now and the beginning of next season where he's no longer our manager?
I think, well, if I'm perfectly honest, no. I think the only possibility is that if we get relegated and then we have some sort of mutual consent departure. Because even if we go down, I can't see him sacking him. But it depends on the pressure from the fans, because the fans are already, I think, a good proportion of the fans, probably not the majority, I don't know, a good proportion of them at least, I think it's fair to say, would quite like a new manager.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
So if they got relegated, I think that would then become a very clear majority of the fans that would, I'd suggest, want him gone.
And
But whether I don't have any faith that the board do. I think they're so, and because it comes down to the thing of like, it's nothing to do with what he's like as a guy, because I think he seems like such a good bloke. Like, I do understand why they don't want to get rid of him, and they feel bad about doing it or whatever, and they've invested and they've bought into his whole philosophy.
Yeah.
So I worry that even if we go down, they'll think, no, trust the process, he'll get us back up, you kind of thing, like, because they're dazzled.
Yeah, I agree.
Bedazzled.
I think.
What's the difference between being dazzled and being bedazzled?
Well, I'm assuming to be bedazzled is you're wearing the dazzle yourself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like as in bedecked.
Yeah.
Bejeweled.
Bewitched.
Bewitched.
You're not wearing a witch.
No, but you take on the personality of the witch.
Okay.
It's happened to you. If I'm dazzled, I'm just impressed by you.
Okay.
Whereas if I'm bedazzled, I am dazzling the world.
Right.
So they're dazzled by Gary.
Right. Dazzled but not bedazzled.
I think so,
Okay.
Yeah.
Bobby Davro.
Yeah, different. It's all about how. I think it's all about how it happens. I think if we get absolutely thumped in a couple of home games against relegation rivals to put us in the relegation zone, that'll be hard to resist. They might be able to, but that will be hard. I think you're right about relegation. If we get relegated on the last day away from home, I think our last game's away, he could well still be there when the next season starts, because it's just different, isn't it?
I see what you're saying, yeah. So if it goes down to the wire, then...
Yes, if we're already down and we have a home game, flipping heck, that's hard to resist.
Even you'd be booing.
I don't know if I'd be booing, but I think if they...
Hollering?
Hollering?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be hollering.
Hollering.
Yeah.
But not boos.
I'd shout really loudly, I'm going to boo you soon, Gary.
Expletives? Any expletives?
It takes a lot for me to explete.
Yeah, but this is a lot.
Yeah, this is a lot.
I've never seen you so,
Yeah, what's
Lloyd
the opposite
Maunders.
of dazzled?
Anyway,
Yeah. I think that could happen. I think those things might make the difference. And you know what it's like?
we've never done a relegation pod.
No, don't want to start now.
Relegation special.
I always thought that would be when we got relegated from the Championship, but that really is my optimism running wild.
I didn't ever think that, but...
Okay, well, I think obviously time will tell. I think the performances of these relegation...
I hope that this is another example of our reactive nature
Yes.
as podcasters.
Yeah.
And that in a week's time,
Yeah.
we'll be coming off the back of 6 points.
Yeah.
And everything's turned around again, and we go like, aren't they great? Gary's the best. Take him to Spain every week.
Yeah.
Hartridge is good, isn't he? Oh, Mitchell, can't believe he's got back from his injury. All these things. Trevitt, so glad he's back. McGuinness is the best. Do you know he's got 100 caps for Northern Ireland? We'll be saying all these things. I hope that is the case.
Yeah, as do I, Dan. As do I. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think any progress is false dawns these days.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Well, it is a bit, isn't it? Because you all get all like, after we've had a big old false storm with the Forest game, haven't we?
Yeah. Yeah. I loved that night. That was great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Absolute anomaly.
Well, it can't just be about one-off good nights, can it,
No, it's a sport of seasons.
Yeah. 4 seasons.
4 seasons.
4 seasons in one day.
Yeah.
As Crowded House once sang.
Yeah. Talking of Crowded House, do you think many people will be there Saturday? Because they're talking like all the tickets are sold out, but...
Are they?
There were 40 seats left or something, I read.
Is that just maybe we just haven't had a home game for a while?
Yeah. Maybe it's everyone bought them after the Forest game and...
Yeah, probably that, isn't it? Or the day trippers.
Yeah.
Another
the Gawkers, I think you called them.
The Gawpers.
Yeah, Gawpers, that's right.
The Gawkers and the Gawpers all went like, oh, this is good, isn't it? We'll come to Exeter City every week.
Yeah.
And then they probably haven't even realised that the last 2 matches have been, well, fair enough, a win, but a shit one, and then an absolute thumping by Charlton. So they're probably expecting to turn up on Saturday and it'd be exactly like it was when we played Forest. And I think they might be in for a bit of a shock.
I pity those fools.
Yeah. Ian Wright ain't going to be there.
No.
Ian there every week.
No.
You just got,
You just got us lot.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Hope we return with better news. We'll be back after Tuesday night, so Wednesday, I suppose.
Wednesday, yeah.
My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.